Hello everyone, it's Leon here, and I'm joined by Jason.
Hello.
Who has been playing, or has reviewed, I should say, Resogun, and you gave it an interesting score.
I did. I gave it a quite high score. I gave it a 9.
Yes, so that makes it the highest scoring PlayStation game, PlayStation 4, I should say, game so far. I think you've got quite a hard sell here to the people who are expecting Killzones and Assassin's Creeds and so forth. Why a 9? What's it got?
So what it has is it has immediate fun and like incredible graphics and lights and just visual theatrics going on. I mean, Housemarque is, you know, a famed studio for their PSN games. You know, they had pretty much universal acclaim with the Super Stardust series, and this game just pushes forward everything they're trying to do. They're really sort of reaching out arms in both directions, trying to take the best of old school arcade design and really forward-looking kind of visual design style and pulling them together, and that's what they managed to do in this game to amazing effect. I mean, it looks lovely. I mean, all the voxels falling apart, all the lights splashing. Visually, it's incredible. What is actually going on? I know it's a busy screen. Any shoot 'em up, especially one that has bullet hell elements, is always going to be a bit of a kind of visual bombast. When you first look at it, you're trying to make sense of it.
So you can see there's a little guy there being flung around. You're not just killing everything, are you?
Exactly. I mean, if you're just picking it up for the first time and you're not experienced with shoot 'em ups, you can have fun just trying to survive, just flying around, trying to avoid enemy fire and shooting things. Like, that's the most basic kind of mechanic in the game. But those little guys that you see running around and that opening command, save the last humans, like, I mean, that's where it starts to go to this next level of complexity. And what you're doing is first unlocking those humans, because they're all held in these little prison pods, because this is a prison colony, and you know, this alien race of robots. They're called sentients, and these are things that make people's eyes glaze over, but really you're just trying to save the little green guys.
Yeah,
is like
save the little green men.
Yes, yes, exactly. And they are neon green, so that you can try to find them on the level, and so the way that you get them out of those little prison pods is to kill the special waves of enemies called keepers. Right. And the thing that makes the game really interesting and really frantic is that these keepers only appear in the level for a short time. So they may be, you notice that it sits on this cylinder, the level is rotating as you fly around it. So a group of keepers may pop into the level on the far side, and you have to fly around to get to them, to kill them before they, you know, make their exit. And
if they exit, you have to wait for them to come back?
No, if they exit, that human is dead. The human whose prison pod that would unlock by killing all of them dies, and the announcer has this little cheeky human lost, you know, just to kind of rub salt in the wounds.
So can you fail a mission then, or fail a level, by losing all the humans, not just by being killed?
So you don't fail. I mean, it doesn't. You can still complete the level, but you lose score, and you also really need to save those humans if you can, because they give you other buffs. They give you your shield. They give you upgrades. They give you sort of extra power with your overdrive blast, which is this big screen clearing kind of. I think in the review I described it as the Pac-Man power pellet. It's the thing that makes you more powerful than anybody else.
Yeah. So I mean, visually we're seeing all these different sort of weapons. I mean, do you select them? 'Cause obviously with Stardust you had like 3 different weapons, didn't you? You switched between them depending on the situation. Is it a similar kind of contextual swapping around here, or?
Well, with your main gun, your main gun is, which you see is in a very early stage of evolution right now. It's got this fairly wide barrage, but it's still pretty small. You don't have any those swarming missiles coming off of that stream, and that's just your right stick. If you're rocking it left or right, it's going to direct the fire. You can't direct it at an angle though, so you really are dependent on kind of hovering up and down to get the fire locked where you need to. But as it levels up, you get these swarming missiles that kind of come sailing off of it, and and heat-seeking their way to enemies. So they'll hit things that are sort of on different parts of the screen. And it gets really, really impressive as you get more of those missiles. It just starts to look absolutely insane. And then every time you save a human, you'll have a brief burst of even more missiles coming off of it. And then you have your overdrive and your bombs, which...
Right, so you're leveling up one gun here. It's not switching between different weapons. It's just you don't have evolving states.
Yeah, exactly. Gotcha. And you'll get these plus symbols will sort of descend into play, and then you can go, grab those, shoot the shield off of them, grab the plus, and then it'll upgrade your upgrade your gun. So
okay, we see. What is this thing here where you sort of go like a battering ram through?
So that's
everything?
a boost. So I believe that is the L1 button, and when you hit that, so you'll have a boost bar that depletes as you use it. So you want to kind of tap it in short bursts, and then if you collide with enemies, you're immune, sort of in that boost mode, and you actually want to collide with enemies because it lets you sort of sustain this boost, and so it goes into this really nice slow motion where you can actually time kind of how you're hitting the enemies, and then get farther around the level. Because, like I said earlier, when those keepers appear on the other side of the level, your stress kind of hormones start kind of flooding.
Is it a very strict kind of time limit? Do you see them and you've literally got seconds, or do you have to? Is it just hard to fight around?
You have to be very you do have to chart a course straight away. I mean it's pretty strict. I mean you have to go straight there. You can't dally about. But at the same time, they have to give you enough time so that you don't feel like it's a lost cause if you're not if you're stuck for a second. So.
We're just watching a video here. Is it easy to keep track of what's going on? I guess if you're actually controlling it and you're triggering stuff, it's visually it just looks very busy. Yeah,
it's very dense, and you do your eyes are locked on that spaceship, and they do a really nice job with the lighting where your enemies are purple. It's kind of that Halo thing of they're not just purple because Bungie loves purple. They're purple because it stands out and it pops off the background.
It's an unnatural color almost, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it has this iridescent sort of shiny quality to it. So when you're watching it, your eye doesn't really know exactly what to focus on, so it's just roaming all over the screen. But when you're playing, you just naturally lock onto the ship, and then you can kind of process things. But one area where I did find that the game occasionally got a little bit illegible was when you were trying to pick up those men, and there were maybe two out of their pods at any one time, and they can actually die before you reach them.
You have to throw them, don't you? You have to. It's not just a case of collecting them. You have to physically fling them at something.
You can do that, and I actually found that was the most fun way to deliver them to the little escape pod, was just to fly over, get within range, and then just send them cartwheeling through the air, which is so that your L2 button, which is or L2 trigger, which I found really fun, and then but you can just fly directly under those. Little escape pods there at the top of the screen, and it will naturally suck them up into it. Okay, we're seeing I guess that's a boss kind of here. Has it got that kind of I think we'll see of R-Type and stuff like that when I think of bosses. Does it have big things? Yeah, well I feel like this one kind of, this type of boss made an appearance in Bulletstorm even, that sort of big sort of wheel grinding along through the dust. You have to get in the wheel. Yeah, so you want to blow off those sort of parts of the side, and there's obviously all these pistons and things kind of firing at you as you're trying to navigate, and you actually can crash into the walls of the ship. So you have to really thread a line kind of into the inside of that thing, dodging those fire blasts as you sort of get to the heart of that thing. And you mentioned the voxels, and this scene is you get this sort of, I think the announcer says, apocalypse when you get to the very end of the stage, and you see all those voxels, which are just those three-dimensional cubes, exploding all over the place. So 9 out of 10, worth investigating. Absolutely. I mean, it's a free game on PS Plus. What do you have to lose? Just go for it. Thank you very much. Cool. Absolutely.